Hello and welcome to the London Bulls podcast with me, Tom, and as ever, my good friend KD. KD, how are you, mate? You well?
Tom, really good to see you. And as you can see, a very special day because we have another guest with us, Mr. Ryan McLean. What a legend. How you doing, mate? Good to see you.
Don't know about that, but thank you. Yeah, good to be here. Thank you.
Always nice. I
Yeah, I
mean, you're
think
actually our first former player, aren't you? I think, Tom.
Oh, really?
That's
Okay,
okay.
nice.
we've had the chairman and then Frank who did the Radio Hereford FC. So and Paul Caddis.
I was going to say
That was
I saw
probably
the
Yeah,
saw the
that
Paul
was the
Caddis
biggest one.
one.
Yeah, I forgot about that one. No, we had a good one on that one. I think we should start really by saying that when we announced that you were coming on, everyone was really looking forward to it. You do seem to be a bit of a fan favorite, even though it's what a season and a bit since you left. So I think that's probably a good legacy to leave.
Yeah,
So obviously at Wimbledon at the moment, but not playing. And I bet you wish you had of last night. But
yeah, that was good.
what's happening?
Uh, yeah, I just got unlucky. Did my ACL on the second game of last season, literally in the first 4 minutes away at Tranmere. Um, yeah, it was just bad luck. There's Astro like right on the edge of the pitch where for the linos. And I'm like running out towards the edge of the pitch trying to chase the ball, keep it in, and I've just my foot's just planted, and lads give me a bit of a nudge, and I just heard two pops, and yeah, I went down, and then I thought I was all right. I got back up and went back on, and then I just felt it wasn't right. The
Mm.
ball came towards me. I went to like flick it on, and my leg just didn't feel like it was attached properly.
Oh,
Yeah, it wasn't great. It wasn't like as painful as I thought. It was painful for like 5 seconds. That's why I went back on.
mm,
But yeah,
mm.
it's a long injury. Yeah, it's like 9 months total recovery time from the op, and I'm about I think it's 4 months. Yeah, 4 months like 2 days ago down the line now. So I'm pretty far in at the minute. But yeah, it's going well.
Mm. Yeah. And what sort of work do you have to do at the moment? Sort of physio and building yourself
Yeah,
back up.
it's a lot. So there was about 4 weeks until I could have my op, and you have to sort of build up the strength to go into the operation. You have to be it's weird like that kind of injury. You have to be like fully be able to fully straighten your leg and fully bend it, and it needs to be back to like pretty strong.
Hmm.
Otherwise, if you have the operation, it then um how do I explain? It's like if you went in at 70%, you would come out the operation at 70% as your best, if you know what I mean.
Wow.
So they want to
Okay.
get you
Yeah.
back to as strong as possible. And then at the minute, I'm just doing gym pretty much every day. It's a bit like just the same thing every day, to be honest, because it's
Hmm.
so long. Each stage takes its time. But I'm back into running next week, so I'm really looking forward to that.
Yeah.
Tom, Ryan, I know you've been involved with the community quite a bit over the last few
Yeah,
days. You see, Wimbledon's been in the news quite a lot. It's been really unfortunate to see what's happened to your pitch. Obviously a very busy time for you. I mean, there was a Newcastle game last night. What was the kind of build up around the squad with that game happening and, the reaction to the amazing donations that have come in for the pitch and things like that?
yeah.
How's it all been? What's the atmosphere like?
Well, it's chaos to be honest. The when we first found out about the pitch, I think it was last Monday morning. So one of the lads has put it in the group chat, and he always like takes the piss with things. He always editing things and stuff. So we all thought it was fake. And then I've watched the video, and I'm like, that can't be fake. It was far too good, far too realistic. But then yeah, we all got to train, and we're like, what's going on? Because we were literally meant to be playing Newcastle the next day.
Mm.
So we were obviously like, that's not happening. Um, and then it was just what's going to be, how long is it going to take? What we're going to do about home games? Is it going to be fair? All the lads wanted it to get flipped to their place anyway.
Yeah.
It's better, yeah. But I'd rather it if I was available. I'd rather have played at the. You'd rather play at the Premier League ground. You probably got more chance of winning at home. Like they beat Ipswich, which was like amazing. But yeah, the experience of playing there will probably have outweighed that, and then they did well last night. I thought they got unlucky. Obviously they had a lot of the ball, Newcastle, but that was to be expected. But yeah, we're like a good solid team, so I thought we did all right.
Fantastic.
Only 1-0, so it's not bad.
Yeah,
very good effort. You've had an amazing journey, Ryan. But we'd like to kind of go back to your early days and just understand what kind of, how did your passion for football start out? I mean, where did it all begin for you?
To be fair, it's probably my dad. I don't think, can't remember, like lads start really early nowadays, don't they? Like 4 or 5. I can't really remember. I think I was about 7. I think I was about 7 when I first went to my first like Sunday league session. My dad just used to like kick me the ball and I'd go and chase it and run it back, which is what I'm sort of good at now, just running with the ball. Yeah, so that's probably where that's come from. But yeah, I remember just going to my first training session and running around with the ball and all the lads trying to get off me, and the coach was like to my dad, "You realise he's pretty decent?" And my dad was like, "Don't know, I didn't really think anything of it, to be honest." Yeah, and then just went from there. Do all right in Sunday league, and I went to a few trials and stuff, and then I think I was at Shrewsbury the following year, probably within a year of Sunday league, maybe.
Who was your club growing up? Did you have a particular favourite team?
So, who I support?
Yeah,
Man United, still, sadly. But yeah, well, we were good when I was growing up. My dad's a Man United fan, so I didn't really have a choice.
And did you have a particular player you like emulated or wanted to be when you were younger? Like, was there anyone from that United squad that you looked up to?
Well, obviously at the time, Ronaldo was like the best player in the world. But I don't really emulate. I don't know. I don't know. I don't really think about stuff like that. But he was my favorite player at the time. Even though I always thought Messi was better, he was always, obviously because of United, the links there. He was always my favorite. And when he left, I'm pretty sure my dad said that I was crying. So
it's fair enough.
Yeah.
Did you have any particular, like, if you didn't go into football, what were your particular passions? Would you have gone into anything else, would you say? Because it's so important now. Like, a lot of young players are doing, like, different kind of, a lot of them are going to uni and stuff on the side or have a part-time hobby. But what did you look at doing? Did you have any other kind of aspirations when you were younger?
Not particularly, no. When I was really young, I just wanted to be a footballer. But then as I grew up, it sort of, I don't know, I wasn't not too bothered, but I just thought it wasn't going to happen, if you know what I mean. So when I signed for Hereford, I was working for Audi as a technician, which I always I still have now, an interest in cars and stuff like that. So it was never like what I aimed to do, if you know what I mean. But yeah, I don't know what else I'd have done. I'd probably tried a few things, to be honest. And then when I signed for Wimbledon, I was doing IT recruitment, which I really enjoyed, which I'd never have thought about that when I was 15 or 16 or whatever, to be honest. But yeah,
balance, honestly. Like, I have so much respect for you and a lot of players in the league in general who balance jobs and competitive football and the distances you travel. Like, it's an amazing.
I know.
So well done.
Non-league, especially sort of that level, step 2, like the level you're playing at is it's the best part-time level in the country, basically, isn't it? Well, there's full-time teams, but the National League is pretty much full-time, so I wouldn't really count that. But like the National North is so competitive, and you travel from Hereford to Blythe, like all the fans that do it as well is mental. I don't know, it's juggling a job with stuff like that. I don't really remember how I did it, to be honest, because I think I'd struggle to do it now. But yeah, like you said, it is big respect to all the players that do it.
Yeah.
I don't think people that have been pros their whole life don't realise how hard it is.
Absolutely. Some of your teammates probably. Um,
Yeah,
yeah, I mean, maybe it brings clubs like this closer together because it's that more sort of community feel because the players are having to travel and the fans are having to travel and juggle jobs and it definitely creates a different atmosphere, I think, around clubs. Not to say that, fans of Wimbledon aren't exactly the same, of course they are, but I think with with the players as well doing it. So
yeah, I know
obviously
what you mean. Yeah,
you mentioned obviously signing for Hereford. So you came initially on loan from Newcastle Town you were at the time.
yeah,
And then you played once and COVID COVID
yeah.
happened.
Oh yeah, I forgot about
So I mean, how did the move sort of come about? Either the loan and then obviously permanently at the end of the season.
that. Yeah, that was a nightmare because just went on for so long. So what month? When was that? That would have been January 21,
Jan,
I think.
yeah, uh,
So that
2020.
was going on.
Yeah,
Yeah, it would have
2021.
been
Yeah, it was
it
21.
would have
Rather,
been
sorry. Yeah,
21. Yeah.
yeah.
So that was going on for ages. I don't know if it was actually February when it got announced. I was there at Hereford for maybe a month. Like it was already signed, but not like the fans didn't know, if you know what I mean.
Hmm.
Wasn't official, I don't think. Um, because my Newcastle Town, the club I was at, um, they allowed me to go. It was just the whole sorting the like money and stuff out with the clubs because there was a fee. So I was obviously desperate to go because at that level we weren't playing football, and I wanted to go as high as I could. So I was like, it's a massive club. Like, why can't I go and play? Even I said, even if I go on loan and it doesn't work out, I come back and I'm still your player. So I think that's why it happened that way. Um, yeah, so long ago.
Yeah, no,
Can't
that's
remember
fine. No,
but
no.
I just remember it. I remember it taking ages. It was quite, yeah, it was quite a long process, but yeah, it all. And then yeah, I played who was it? I played Brackley on that night, and then the league got curtailed. And then the worst thing was that's when we got to Wembley, and I
Hmm.
was cup tied from the team I was coming from. So yeah, that was a frustrating. It was good though to be around the lads, especially getting to Wembley. I like Gaffer let me like me and I think it was me and George Forsyth Ozzy. We were both cup tied, so he let us warm up at Wembley. So like, I still got to go on the pitch and train on there and stuff at half time. So that was like a good experience in itself. It was still well worth. I'd only have been at Newcastle not playing anyway,
Hmm.
so it was
Hmm.
better off to be in that environment, training at a good level twice a week. And the lads we were playing friendly games.
Hmm.
I remember playing. We played Walsall, Villa, Alvechurch, quite a few teams. I remember that was all. Which was all obviously good experiences for me, getting used to it all.
Hmm. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. So obviously you made 90 appearances for Hereford, scoring 15 goals. Got a lot of assists in there as well. Um, when you when you first came, obviously, as you say, it was COVID, but let's maybe move to the second season in that regard when you
Yeah.
signed properly. What did you think of Edgar Street? What did you think of the crowd and the atmosphere?
Well, to be fair, I got that experience even like when I signed on loan, there was no one there. I had so many fans like following, messaging me. I just wasn't used to that.
Mm,
Because Newcastle Town was like um really good for my development, but like they're a small club in comparison. We used to get maybe like 250 would have been
mm,
um a good attendance. Like 300 would have been a rivalry game. It was probably
yeah.
average less than 200. I remember my mum and dad sat there in the stand and they were the only ones one game because there was about 70 people there. Um, but yeah, the when I signed properly, and the first game, I was like, yeah, this is like proper, like this is what you want to do every week, like proper
Hmm.
football.
Hmm.
So yeah,
That's
that
Yeah,
was a good experience.
I
yeah,
want to
absolutely.
touch on your experience of that period where we got to Wembley a bit more, actually. Did it feel a bit weird because we were like training just for that one game, which was so far away? Did that feel bizarre,
Um,
that preparation?
well, it was one game every time we won though. It was one game. Do you know what I mean?
Hmm.
They never. I don't know what stage we were at when I signed, but obviously they'd won a few already. So it was always like, yeah, we're training for this one game, and then it was one game again. It was the norm. But then it was also the teams we were playing. They were playing. They'd have been in the National League, wouldn't they?
Mm.
Who was it? I remember Woking was one of
Woking
them.
and Aldershot we had, yeah.
Yeah. So they had other games to think about. I think. Were they? Is that right?
Hmm. Yeah, yeah, they were still
Yeah.
playing. Yeah, they sort of
Yeah.
come
Okay.
back to play, if you know what I mean. Yeah.
So obviously I wasn't playing, but I felt like that was probably an advantage. We were playing friendly games as like warm ups where they're having to play competitive games week in, week out. And yeah, we were like just concentrating on that game, which is 3 weeks away.
Mhm.
You've
Yeah.
come across quite a few different Hereford versions then of those few seasons, and what we had a question come from Morph, who was the legend that helped arrange this for us.
Oh
And
yeah.
he wanted to know specifically who was the best Hereford player that you played with? Like, was there anyone in particular that really stood out for you that you're like, God, this guy's
Um yeah, quite a few. When I signed it was probably Toey. Um yeah, he was just like well, everyone loved him at Hereford, didn't they?
Hmm.
He was like a level above, I'd say, at the time. And then who else was there? There'd have been a few in each year. Uh, Aaron Amadi Holloway. I know he was like ridiculous in training. Like if he got hold of the ball, you just couldn't. No one could get it off him. Like maybe like two, three lads trying to get it off him, you wouldn't be able to because he had good feet and he was strong. Um, yeah, there was loads. Jack Evans, defender. Um, Kane, he was unbelievable in training as well.
Hmm.
Um, can't think of else. Hainsey. I couldn't believe how young Hainsey was when I signed.
Yeah.
I think he was like 19 or something when I signed.
Just seemed like a very
He just
experienced head then,
yeah, he
didn't
just
he?
played like he was like 25.
Yeah.
Like he played for years and yeah, so experienced. Uh yeah, I can't remember. It's Skip Yaz when he was I can't imagine how good he was when he was younger. I thought he was really good.
Mm.
He was good for me as well. Like communication wise. Because obviously if I played in front of him it massively helped. Yeah, there's loads. I've probably missed some out, Phil, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I've got a list here, but I don't want to. I don't want to say them just in case you thought they were rubbish, you know. And
Uh,
then, no, I mean, you've got obviously people like Miles Story was there, um,
yeah,
Oren Pendley, um, Latty Fairweather. He obviously has done well as well.
yeah,
Jamie Egan. Um,
yeah. There's
who
loads of
else
good
we got?
lads.
Yeah, obviously Maz Kuyar sort
Maz,
of
yeah, he was
went
really.
up. So yeah, no, there's look. Yeah, as you say, there
Yeah,
are
there was a.
lots of players that were
Well,
were
yeah,
good.
that was one thing I remember at the time with Maz that the whole when he left, that was not well. I think the club could have dealt with it a bit better. Like
Mhm.
um, he wanted to stay, but they didn't want to offer him a tiny bit more. And then when he started doing well, he got obviously better offers. And
Mhm.
when he was able to go to full time football, and then he ended up getting promoted, so it worked out really well for him. But I remember being disappointed because we got on quite well. So I remember
Mhm.
being disappointed um, when the club couldn't come to a better agreement for him, I suppose, because I think he got player of the month, didn't he? And then went.
Mhm.
But but yeah, I remember him and was it Janai? They went at the similar time.
Yeah, I think so.
That was another one. I think. I know he got a lot of a lot of stick for going, but it worked out for him. He was going back home to a team that were higher up the division. To a team that were 5 minutes from his house and probably on more money. So it was a no-brainer for him. But obviously, to the fans, they see that as he's leaving for the money and stuff. But I think had we kept that team together, we were doing really well, weren't we? I remember.
Yeah.
Can't remember if we were. Would that have been like January, February? I think we were probably in around the playoffs, just below, and then it went downhill from there, from what I remember.
Yeah, I mean, you can't begrudge a player, especially at this level.
Yeah,
going a bit closer to home. I mean, if it doesn't matter if there's an extra £10 on the table, it all makes a big difference, especially if you've got a family, for example. So yeah, and I think as well, what I would say, and it has probably improved since you left, to be fair, is the communication from the club to the fans.
yeah.
At the time, there just isn't the information just wasn't there, and it wasn't just at that time. It's a thing that's Hereford has struggled with for years and years and years, where the rumor mill starts and everybody's coming up with different things they think, or they've seen someone walking around the outside of Edgar Street, or and that sort of stuff. It is what it is, because communication was terrible. So it doesn't
I don't know
help.
if it was just people. Sorry.
No, it's right. No, carry on.
I just don't know if it was people that were like in charge of it were just not, I don't know, used to being on social media or like letting people know what they need to hear. But yeah, like you're saying, I know I still follow Hereford. Obviously, I still want them doing well and stuff. I've noticed that it seems to have improved a lot.
Yeah.
I think it's probably come from the manager, from what I see anyway. Yeah. But he's been so really good with me. Like to help get the deal through for Wimbledon, he massively helped when he came in, even though he could have been a dick about it. But he wasn't. He was like, I don't want anyone, don't want to stop anyone going into like full-time football, etc.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was massively thankful to him for that. And then he messaged me literally. I remember he was one of the first people to text me when the news went out about my injury, which he didn't have to do. So yeah, I know he's a proper guy. You can tell.
Yeah, I think it helps. He's played at the level in sort of League One, League Two, so he knows. He could probably see in you that you had what it takes anyway. So that definitely helps. Talking of managers, obviously Josh Gowling was the manager. How did you get on with him? Was he a good manager? What sort of qualities do you think he had?
Yeah, no, to be fair, yeah, we got on. He was obviously the one that brought me in, so I was massively thankful to him as well for the opportunity. I think when he left, it was I don't know how to explain it. It was like, I don't know if he knew it was coming, but a lot was changing at the time. So yeah, you could tell he was under pressure, which I suppose in the situation we were in at the time, it was probably that's expected. But yeah, he was really good for me. Helped my overall game, I'd say. I came in from Newcastle and I didn't really have to defend. They just wanted me to stay up as a high full. I was not playing up front, but they wanted me to be at the other end of the pitch where I could hurt them, and the rest of the team would do the dirty work behind me basically. But I'd get sort of shouted at if I was back beyond the halfway line. They'd be like, "What are you doing? Get back up there." So yeah, coming in and then playing under him, and he was so much about hard work and defensive like work rate. It was a big change for me. So, and he was always on me, which is probably well, it definitely has helped me overall as a player because yeah, you're not going to be able to progress up the leagues if you're just standing at the other end. But he obviously saw that potential in me because I've always like worked hard and ran a lot, but it was doing it in the right ways. But yeah, that might have taken away from my attacking side a bit. But yeah, obviously you've got to do what the manager asks, and it's always about the team, not like you, if you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think you consider being a manager? Like,
Me,
going
no,
into coaching or something? You wouldn't want
no,
to
it doesn't interest me at all. I've tried it a few times. It's just I don't know. I don't know. I'm not the sort of personality for that. I think yeah, got to be got loud and outgoing. I'm not really. I don't really think that would be for me. Maybe like I'd like to be involved in football, but yeah, coaching. I don't know. Doesn't interest me to be honest.
No, that's fair. I know, Tom, you mentioned a former player, Oren Pendley, and I wanted to just touch on the FA Cup run we had where we played Portsmouth on BBC Live, which was unbelievable.
Yeah,
And you obviously had a big hand in knocking out Bromley, where you set Oren up, actually. And I just wanted to
yeah,
touch on the kind of memories of that time. Do you remember that run very well? What was it like when we beat Bromley and then, going out in front of the BBC cameras at Edgar Street against Portsmouth?
yeah. Well, yeah, that was one of my favourite days. The Portsmouth game. That was unbelievable. Obviously, first time on telly, and it was BBC. There's so many people, like family and stuff, that don't really watch football. Were all watching it because they had no excuse not to. But yeah, that Bromley game was probably one of my favourites as well because yeah, I remember he's another one I didn't mention him actually. Pinchy, he was unbelievable. Um, yeah, the his free kick first that was in front of the fans as well, I think, and then the winner. Obviously, I just headed it back across goal. I could have shot, I think, but I think the angle was a bit too tight, so I just headed it back across goal, and Oren tapped it in. But yeah, that was a good day. I can't really remember the run to be honest. Who else did we play? Three Bridges or
Yeah, I think we had three bridges
Three
something like
Bridges.
as well. So some tough games. And then that Portsmouth game, like what was it like in terms of coming up against a football league side playing for Hereford in the National
that.
League? Did you really feel that quality that they had?
Yeah, well, I'd say first half we were the better side. I thought we settled in really well. And I thought we've got a chance. But then second half it was fitness, I think. They just went out there. I think they put a lad on who just come on and dictated it from like a deep role in midfield. And you just couldn't get near him. And they kept moving the ball around and I remember my legs were gone by like the 80th minute. Um yeah, that's where the quality showed. But then I remember all their goals were avoidable. The first one in the first half, where the defenders got split, and then the lads just had like a tap in the box. And then what was the other two? They were set pieces, weren't they?
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just remember feeling hard done by, considering uh, how hard we'd worked, and the goals that they scored they didn't carve us open or anything. But yeah, that night with the sold out crowd and under the lights was a Friday night as well, I think. Yeah,
It was, yeah.
that was unbelievable. I really enjoyed that one.
What is it like? What does it feel like in the dressing room after a game like that? Is it kind of like everyone's fine about it because they got so much quality, they're like streets ahead of us in terms of their resource? Or do you genuinely feel disappointed? You're like, oh God, like you should have beat them. What happens in the dressing room? Like what did Josh say to you after?
My memory's terrible with stuff like that, to be honest with you. Um, I couldn't tell you, but I know that we would have been disappointed, especially going 1-0 up. Yeah, it was just hard to take, but then it is, yeah, they are better than us. They're there for a reason. But then, yeah, anyone on the day, anyone can beat anyone. It's the quality, the difference in quality is big, but it's not massive. So, but yeah, I couldn't tell you what actually got said. We would have been disappointed, but um, not fuming at ourselves because we didn't make mistakes. We were probably just more so switching off at crucial times. It's, yeah, it was more so about as long as you feel happy with how you played, which I think everyone will have done in the game. We didn't let like the fans down. I wouldn't say we had a go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I thought you had a good game that night. I remember you making a few runs and getting a bit excited. You know, you just get a bit excited because it's like, oh, hang on a minute. And then obviously we went 1-0 up as well with Miles's goal, and it was just like, what's going on? And you do start to dream then. Obviously, you can't let yourself do that on the pitch, but as a fan, it's like, you know, that next once you go 1-0 up, and then that next run from somebody or where you beat somebody, or it's like, oh, this is it. Oh my God, we're going to win about 8-0 here. And then, you know, obviously then as you say, their quality did definitely show that night. But I think you hit the nail on the head with the second half. Really, it was more a fitness thing and just, you know, and the right subs at the right time. And sometimes that's it, you know, that's football, isn't it? Really, but
yeah.
When we asked you about games, obviously you mentioned. We mentioned the Bromley game and the Portsmouth game. Another one you mentioned was I think it was the season before against Boston, away, where Hereford won 4-2 and we were 4-0 up after, was it 23 minutes, I think. I mean,
like that,
that's great game, great to go there as well and get 4 goals. But obviously say what your memories, whether you can remember or not. But you know, obviously you know that you played well in that game, so.
Well, yeah, I got man of the match, but I don't really know why. I remember being surprised about that. They didn't score or anything. I did all right, but I don't think I should have got man of the match. Yeah, I just remember saying after the game to like my family that never played in a game like that where we must have scored every time we shot in the first half an hour or first half. It was mental, and I remember they actually were the better side for the first. Keep like possession wise, I remember I was blown, but we just defended well, and like I said, every time we went forward, we scored. I don't think I've ever played in a game like that before or since.
Yeah, I mean, watching the highlights today, just to remind myself of that game, and like it just seemed like the passes were very accurate, but also like those sort of through balls. Because I think one of the goals, you put it through. I can't remember who for now. Maybe Latty Fairweather, and then he knocked it back for Tyrone Barnett, I think. And it was those types of passes where we sort of cut open that defence, and I think that's probably why you got man of the match, because you made a lot of runs and did a lot of those passes.
Yeah, I didn't get the plaudits, but yeah.
It's all right. You can't score every game, can you?
Yeah, I know.
But yeah, sorry, that Boston game wasn't the season before. It was the game before the Bromley one. So apologies.
Oh, was it?
Yeah. So then we went into the Bromley game then and beat them. So it's 2 good games actually. So another one of the games that you mentioned, string of games actually was the kiddie game on a Tuesday night, and I think we had Gloucester the following Tuesday. We won both games, and then in the middle we had Farsley Celtic away, who we beat 4-0. And I think you got the first one that day, so it was good little run for us there. Obviously the kiddie game we won 2-0. Janai, Gordon, and Toe got the goals there, with you setting up the second goal, which was a very good assist, I must say, from the halfway line. Nice little mazy run, as you said, typical of you. And then sort of cut in and passed it across the box for Toe to score. Why did you choose those games particularly?
I think they were probably the ones that like meant the most to the fans. And I don't know if they were the first. I think it was the first time that I'd beat Kiddie. So yeah, I just remember fully like completely deserving to win, dominating both games. And yeah, it was a good period for me. I think I always played better at night for some reason.
Also the lights.
Yeah, yeah, the Kiddie one I remember, and then the Gloucester one. I remember that the assist I got for that one for Toey. Yeah, I remember the video of that one's really good actually. I remember being impressed by the footage of that because it's right up next to it because you couldn't really tell on the main video, and some people it happened right below where my family sit and they couldn't really see what happened, but the video shows it quite well.
Yeah, so you nicked it off the defender, didn't you? And then managed to sort of cut it back for Toe to. It's a good goal by Toe as well, wasn't it? But
yeah, great
I liked your cut back, to be fair.
Yeah, yeah, I'll take that.
You had a really amazing time with this, Ryan. I'd love to know what was the thing you're most proud of whilst you were with us, and if you reflect on it, like, is there anything you would change from that experience?
Well, it was, I don't know in particular. Probably it would probably be the Portsmouth game, getting there, playing on telly, obviously getting quite a lot of money for the club. It was all a great experience as well for everyone involved. And I don't know if that had been it was Hereford's first time back on the telly for a while. So yeah, I know that it meant a lot to everyone and obviously all the lads involved as well. That was probably my favourite moment, I'd say. It's got to be up there.
And you mentioned the gaffer reached out to you when you were injured. Do you keep in touch with any of the Hereford players you played with at all? Any guys that you still talk to?
Yeah, not like regularly. I speak like mentioned Jack Evans earlier, Brad Wade, goalie, Pinchy, Jack Holmes. Can't think who else. Probably missed someone off there. But yeah, they're probably the main ones from my last season there. I'd say I'd speak to the most.
Yeah, no, it's great that you keep in touch. I think that tells you a lot about that team, and about those lads as well.
Yeah.
So we've got a question from a fan from Finley who wanted to know who was the funniest player either on the training pitch or in the changing room from your time at Hereford.
Probably there's a few to be fair. Well, Seb never played. You like won't have seen him very much, but he's just an idiot. He made everyone laugh. I remember the video that went viral on TikTok of him getting smashed in the face. That was just like typical of him. Like it could only happen to him. But yeah, I used to take him to training because he's from Shrewsbury. He used to get dropped off at mine, and then I'd take him. So I got all his weekend antic stories in the car. Yeah. I think he was one of them. Everyone laughed at him, but he liked it. Miles' story was funny, in a different way to Seb. Yeah, he made me laugh. His puns and stuff. Probably them two from the top of my head.
Yeah, fair enough. Do you think you'll if your career allows, do you think you'll come back to Hereford in the future?
I wouldn't rule it out.
If we get up to the Football League,
Yeah. No, yeah. With what's going on at the club at the minute, I would never say no. Obviously, yeah, I loved it when I was there, so definitely on the cards.
That's what we like to
hear.
hear.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, three separate people asked us that specific question to ask you. So,
Okay.
I think that's probably your answer for whether we want you back or not.
Yeah. Wasn't sure if everyone would hate me after going.
Yeah, it's that kiddie, the kiddie
Yeah.
bit. But anyway, don't worry about that. We'll move on. We'll move on. It's obviously at Wimbledon now. I suppose similar to the question about Hereford, how did that Wimbledon move come around? Were there other clubs in for you at the time as well, or?
So yeah, well, I think it got put out the on the club's Twitter when I was meant to go to Altrincham, in literally just before Wimbledon, and that never happened. Can't remember why. It just fell through. I think, yeah, I can't really remember. But yeah, that was one. There was a couple, and then it was actually the Leamington managers. So Paul Holleran, he got in contact with me, and he like basically said he always thought I was a good player, etc. Said, "Do you want any help, sort of getting into full time football, getting a move?" I was like, "Yeah, I'm not going to say no if you're prepared to help me." So literally 2 days later, he he asked, I don't know if it was maybe a day later, he asked my agent's number. My agent spoke to him, and then they were like, Wimbledon. Then we were driving down to Wimbledon 2 days later. It was unreal. I remember being at work. My agent was like, "Do you fancy going to League Two?" And I was like, "Yeah."
Yeah, go on then.
Yeah. So it was a bit of a mad few days. Obviously, I was gutted after the whole Altrincham thing never happened.
Yeah.
Wanted to get into full time. So then I sort of got around that, and then that happened. And yeah, we're literally, I think within maybe like 4 days from speaking to him, I was quitting my job.
Wow.
So yeah, that was, and they were really good about it. They let me just do it with like no notice because they knew. Because then 2 days later, we were going to Spain on tour. So that week was just mental.
I love hearing about how these like transfers happen because as fans we just never really get to see that
Yeah,
inside.
you went here.
It's just
Yeah,
amazing. Like
yeah,
you'd never expect how it happens and incredible really. And we had
yeah.
another question from Hereford Fan Hub and they're really interested to know what that transition was like for you going from a National League North club into full-time professional status. Like how did you find that experience?
Well, yeah, it was completely different. I was I was trying to when I wasn't working and playing, there was a period where I just was just playing for Hereford. And I was trying to not train like a full-time footballer, but I was doing more like going to the gym on my days off, trying to do extra sessions and stuff like that to put in a bit extra work, etc., just to try and help myself become better, basically. So, not that, and I'd say I'm pretty fit naturally. So the transition it was hard. It was more so the recovery, I'd say, rather than the fitness levels. I was top. I think I was top 5 in all the fitness stuff that we did. Where I was used to being like the top in the fitness stuff at Hereford and other clubs, and then went there, and it was it's just a different. Everything's just obviously another level up. So it was difficult, but I think that's what I noticed most. It was the recovery from doing it. You can put it all in on the one day, and then you've got to do it again the next day, and then the next day. Whereas at Hereford, there might have been a few days in between, but then I was working, so it's different. It's um, just a different way about it, if you know what I mean.
You had a really good start to your career with Wimbledon, and one of the games you wanted to talk about
Yeah.
was that game is commentary. Actually, do you want to tell us why you chose that?
Well, yeah, it was my professional debut, obviously, and I scored the winner in the last like minute. So I don't think it could have gone any better. Well, and it put us through, and we went and played at Stamford Bridge. So I don't think I said in my interview after I couldn't have written it any better than that.
Exactly.
I remember I come on in the 80th minute, I think, and we were losing. Sort of set up the first one. I've like put it in the box. It's deflected. The lad and strikers put it in from the edge of the box, and then the winner was left foot volley, top corner, and then
That's an unbelievable
straight.
start. Like, and playing Chelsea in the next round. Like, I know you came on at Stamford Bridge, and what did that feel like coming up against Premier League players? I mean, this is a crazy transition, isn't it? 1 minute you're playing like West League North, and you're at Stamford Bridge.
Yeah, it's hard. Yeah, hard to explain. I said the best way I've explained it to my mates and stuff was like it was like being in FIFA. Me and another lad were sat there on the bench, and it was just like that's all like our teammates out there, but like we're involved, if you know what I mean. And you're seeing who was playing like the Chelsea bench. I remember warming up next to my mum's got a picture of me next to Thiago Silva, Enzo, and Ben Chilwell, just all warming up next to each other. And yeah, that was just like surreal. And we took like 4,000 or 5,000 fans there. It was that was sick, to be honest.
What's it like when you play in front of a huge crowd like that? Like, do you feel nervous? Like, how does that feel when you're coming from people?
No, I don't know. I just try not to think about it. It's the same really as a few thousand at Hereford. To be honest, it's like once you're playing, you don't think about it. The whole where you're just playing a game of football. I think. It sounds like a crap answer, but I think
no, it's all right.
It's just you just got to get on with it, haven't you? You're trying to do your best, and we were going for the game, trying to obviously get back in it because we were 2-1 down. Just a bit of a whirlwind, to be fair.
It's been amazing that you've run out of Wembley and Stamford Bridge in the last few seasons.
Yeah, I know. Can't believe it, to be honest. From where I was to that is pretty mad. At one point, I was like playing like in the park, basically, not getting paid, play football on a Saturday, and then to that, it's unbelievable.
Yeah, I mean you've earned it, mate. So don't you've put the hard work in. So fair dues to you.
Thank you.
I think the summary I've got, KD, I don't know about you, from that Chelsea game is that Edgar Street and the Hereford fans are just as loud as the Chelsea fans. So that's what that means. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Not
don't know if that's a
at all.
good thing or not.
Yeah, there's more about Chelsea, I think.
Yeah,
so obviously. But no, I mean, just must have been an incredible experience, and as you say, just warming up again, alongside some of those lads on that Chelsea bench, who you're now just as good as. So don't worry. As we said at the beginning, you've obviously done a little bit of work in the community. I'm guessing trying to keep yourself busy. But is that something that's really important to you? And obviously, Wimbledon being a community club, it's going to be important to them. But is that something you really want to do?
Yeah, so obviously Wimbledon fan owned. It's very similar to Hereford, in the way that how the fans are. Excuse me, with the what's the word? Like how involved they are, or like their vested interest in the club is massive. Same as you guys. So yeah, the whole community is a massive thing. And they've got their own charity, which I was helping out with the other day. Because like I said, there's a lot to do. So they need as much help as they can, and when we can help out, we do. And I haven't got much else to be doing, so I said I'll happily help out. And with what's going on at the minute with the pitch, it was obviously nice for the fans to see that. Some of us were helping out in the community.
Yeah, it's great, mate. Fair dues to you. It's it's tough being a footballer, and got all the extra bits to do. So it's it's good that it's good that you took the time out, mate. It really is. Right. I mean, I don't know if you've got anything more to ask, KD.
I wanted one last question. Obviously now you've played against a few teams in the Football League and at Stamford Bridge and stuff. Who's the best player you've come up against, would you say? Like you've been like right up against. Who's one player that's been like, oh God, like they were really...
Well, Madueke that game, he was really good.
He's not bad, is he?
No, he was like, you could just tell, and they weren't having him at the time. I remember the Chelsea fans, but but as he should, look a bit better than us. I remember him that day being really good. Enzo came on, and he scored the winner. He changed the game. It was just a bit of a. I remember that game. It was a bit. They were putting on Enzo, Caicedo, people like that. They just spent 200 million on, and Wimbledon had to put me on.
Yeah, but
right,
they were only subs.
Yeah.
Nah,
Yeah,
right,
I can't think of anyone else, to be honest. And they stood out. Obviously, they're bigger names. But yeah.
Honestly, Ryan, it's been such an amazing insight into like what it's been like for you and that whirlwind journey you've had. It's been unbelievable, and as Tom said, like really well deserved. It's really nice to see a lad who's played for Hereford doing really well, and now you're down in London as well. Hopefully, we can try and watch you at some point. Play a game.
Yeah. Well, let me know if you need tickets.
Thank you.
No worries.
See, there you go. Such a nice guy, and as I say, that's what everyone said about you at the club. So,
That's
keep it up, mate, and
you.
good luck. And I hope that obviously the injury, it all works out and you get back out.
Yeah, I'm hoping to be back for hopefully the last few months of the season. That'd be nice. But yeah, obviously I've got a bit of a way to go yet.
Yeah. Well, look, if Hereford play the season in the FA Cup, then we can all boo you. No,
Probably will.
Yeah. Well, you've got to, haven't you, for a bit of a laugh.
Yeah.
But no, that's great. Cheers. Thank you so much for your time, Ryan. Really appreciate it, mate.
No worries. I've enjoyed it. Thank you.
Thank you, Ryan. Take care.
Cheers.